Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. So I've already done the weekend forecast, as always on a Saturday, and if you want to see the weekend forecast, you just have to scroll down the homepage a little bit. It'll be underneath the link as I'm going to talk about in a second, and you'll be able to see weekend forecast video. Alternatively, there's the written version, and you can check that out just by clicking the button at the top of the page which says written, and then you'll be able to see a menu of or a list of buttons that take you off to all of the written content at gavsweathervids.com. So whether you want to read it or watch it, weekend forecast is well and truly there for you to enjoy. This is the CFS 6 months look ahead just for fun, and we're going to have a look at, as the name suggests, the next 6 months with the CFS V2 model. So this is going to take us from May next month through to October. Can you believe? Now, the caveat with this, as I always have to say, is that it is just for fun. It's not to be relied upon. We're looking 6 months ahead with one model in isolation. So to be serious for a second, you should not take the things that you see in this video too seriously, particularly when we get to sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 months away. It's a heads up to sort of show you and tell you what the CFS is sort of playing with its ideas this month. It's a snapshot of what it's doing right now, but as we get into next month and subsequent months, so the output could well look very, very different. So, with the caveats aside, I'll get on with CFS 6 months look ahead in a second. Before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all of the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in, and thanks so much for doing that. There's video ads on most of the pages which open up the content. When you watch them, they'll close back up again. And it does all help to pay for gavsweathervids.com. It keeps us completely free of charge, so we don't have to worry about subscriptions or pay-per-view, anything like that. We can keep the updates, the videos, the written posts, Terry with his month-end forecast and all of that. We can keep it completely free for you to enjoy. So thanks so much for engaging with the ads. And thanks for doing that. You've either linked to a CFS V2 model on the links page, and I think I better get on with it. So I'm going to start off with 700 millibar height anomalies for the next 6 months. Then have a look at the corresponding temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with that. So we're going to start off with May. In theory, this should be the most reliable part of this chart, of course. So with these charts, blue is extrapolating to low pressure, and yellow, orange, red, the more vibrant colours, they always extrapolate to high pressure. For May, we find a trough of low pressure. It's a fairly shallow trough, but it's trough nonetheless, centred generally to the east of the country. There's a bit of troughiness around Greenland and a ridge around Newfoundland. It's rather a complicated one, but I think overall the jet stream is probably a bit to the south, actually. And if anything, I would suggest that's fairly unsettled, really. I mean, over here we can see the trough, again, centred over central parts of Europe. I think there is some sort of trough within the 700 millibar flow, and the jet stream's a bit to the south as well. So, well, it's hard to decipher much from it because not a great deal to go on, even though it's only a month away. But I think overall that's probably fairly cool, fairly unsettled conditions continuing into May. We go through to June, and this one, again, it all looks rather flabby, doesn't it? Not a great deal to go on, but there's some sort of ridge now to the east with those yellow colours, and again over here, so we've got some sort of ridge across northeastern parts of Europe. There's a bit of a ridge again around Newfoundland. Otherwise, not much to be seen. I think overall the jet stream is still probably coming through the country, maybe a little bit further north than we have it in May. But I have to say, from a height perspective, not a great deal to go on there in June either. It'll be interesting what the temperature precipitation anomalies are looking like. We get into July, and, well, nothing really doing at all in July. What's going on there? Big area of nothing, if this is to be believed with the model. So I can't really shed much light on that as to what's going on there. I suppose you could say, in a way, it's average heights, but I just don't think the model really has a great deal of a signal there for July. Let's carry on through to August, and August shows a ridge building to the north, to a long way to the north. So that's northern blocking, and I think this would shove the jet stream south. So again, there's not a great deal to go on. There's no blue colours there hinting at a trough within the 700 millibar flow for August, but I would think that is a good deal more unsettled as we get through into August, with the jet stream being pushed southwards by this hint of northern blocking to the north. September then looks very unsettled. This is 5 months away, so it's only for fun, but September does look very unsettled. Finally, we have a proper sort of anomaly chart where we can work out what's going on. We've got a ridge down well to the south, trough of low pressure in the Atlantic and running through the UK, and a ridge up towards the north of Scandinavia. So we're bringing the jet stream through the country like that. That is a very unsettled signal, quite obviously, for September. And then we get through to October. It's 6 months away, right at the extended range of the 6 months look ahead. But October shows a ridge replacing that trough, building in across the country, and low pressure going up to the north. The jet stream being pushed to the north as well, so that could be quite a warm, dry month as we get through into October. Interestingly, very interesting map for month 5 and month 6, which you would think would have a weaker signal. Actually, the signal gets stronger. We have a very clear signal for an unsettled, cool, wet month for September, and then a settled, probably mild, dry month for October. Very strong signals, and it's the earlier months that are rather difficult. I can't ever remember seeing that happening with the CFS 6 months look aheads, that the latter months, the extended range that are inferior just for fun, should have a stronger signal than the months that are just 1, 2, 3 months away. Quite unusual developments. Right, let's have a look at the temperature anomaly, see if we can try and put some meat on the bones of all of this. And we can start off with temperature and then have a look at precipitation. So this is the temperature anomaly for May. Remember, May's chart looked rather odd, but overall we had a bit of a trough sitting to the east, and I thought the jet stream was probably going to the south in the 700 millibar flow, a bit like that. For temperatures anyway, there's not a great deal to go on. There's no sign of anything particularly warm or cold there, just near normal temperatures, not only for the UK, but for the vast majority of Europe. It's just really Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden and Finland that looks a bit warmer than average, and perhaps hinting down to the southeast of Europe as well. But overall, that is average to cooler than average, I would think, for May. June looks a little bit better. We thought that for June the jet stream was probably going a bit more towards the north, so doing something like that. And it means that for most of Europe, actually, it's going warmer than average in June. For us, still not a particularly strong signal, but those warmer than average temperature anomalies are closer to us, so maybe hinting at getting a bit warmer as we go through into June. July, I mean, again, very little to go on for July. I'm not sure what the CFS is doing this month, to be honest. The signal seemed very, very weak from really early on. As we get through to July, again, nothing really to go at there. All you can say, again, it's close to average. Maybe with these little splodges of blue that we see just there and again through there and there. Maybe you could say that for Western Europe it does hint at being a bit cooler than average, perhaps, for July. But again, I have to emphasise, not a strong signal at all by any means. No real signal for temperatures we get through into August either. You can see why I'm struggling with this this month. I really am struggling with this CFS 6 month look ahead for this month, because the signals are just so weak. So for August again, it's showing average temperatures, but I just don't think it's really got a signal here going forwards, and the temperature anomalies for August do look really hard to decipher. It goes on into September, and then we end up in October again with no real signal for temperatures either. So nothing to go at. All you can say that there's no sign of anything desperately cold during the next 6 months. No sign of anything really hot either. But beyond that, I think the CFS has probably lost the plot a little bit this month, to be honest. And then finally having a look at the precipitation. So for May, you'd expect it to be a fairly unsettled month because we have a trough centred to the east of us. But I think the jet stream's a little bit to the south. So you would think that it would be a more unsettled month compared to a settled month. And that is probably what the model hints. And again, it's not a strong signal, but it does look a little bit wetter than average there, close to the UK, particularly across the northern parts of France. June goes a little bit drier, so hints at being a little bit drier than average. So for June, we have got a slightly stronger signal for precipitation. Remember, we think that for June, the jet stream's probably going to the north, probably building up some sort of a ridge to the south. So maybe a drier, warmer month. We can't really say that about temperature. The temperature signal is very weak, but perhaps a drier, warmer month for June. For July, it doesn't look too bad, actually, in terms of precipitation in July either. We're coming out generally a little bit drier than average, although it's wet across France. So temperatures, no signal at all for May, June or July, but for precipitation, actually it doesn't look too bad once you get through to June and July. It does look a little bit drier. That flips a little bit though as we go through into August. Now remember, for August we did have a signal for some ridging up here, some northern blocking to be here, which in summer would generally tend to shove the jet stream southwards. So you would expect August to be quite unsettled with that amount of northern blocking up here. And we do see a signal here for a wetter than average month in August. 4 months away, though, it's not to be relied upon. And that continues to go into September, and a very strong signal in September for quite a wet month. So we may not have a signal for temperatures, but for precipitation in September, it looks wet. There's low pressure running through the country with the jet stream running in. So again, quite a wet month being signalled in September to start off the autumn. And then October, which flips around again and builds the ridge right over top of the country. October coming out significantly drier than average. Remember, we're sending the jet stream up here somewhere in October. You will think that would be a warmer than average month, and certainly, although there's no signal for being warmer than average, certainly drier than average is being signalled quite clearly as that high pressure sits across many parts of Central and Western Europe. So rather bizarre update this month, because it appears that we have a stronger signal for September and October, which is months 5 and 6, than we do for May, June, July, which is months 1, 2 and 3. Quite what's going on, I'm not sure. It could all be related to what's happening in the Pacific, because we are now beginning to firmly see indications of La Nina starting to pick up. So it's a transitional period that we're in right now. We're moving out of El Nino. We're transitioning almost certainly, I mean not almost certainly, but we're almost highly likely to be transitioning into La Nina. I don't want to go too over the top with that yet. Wait until June to definitively say we're going to go to La Nina. But I think we are transitioning from El Nino to La Nina, and the CFS model thinks that we're doing that as well. We can tell that from its La Nina forecast, which you'll be able to see next week with the latest El Nino update. So the upshot is the model, the CFS V2 model, thinks we are transitioning from El Nino to La Nina right now, and that could explain why its signals are so weak, because it isn't yet able to factor in exactly what the implication of the transition from Nino to Nina is going to be. I think that could explain what's going on this month. Alternatively, it could just be that CFS V2 model has had a very bad day, it's had a headache, it's had a bit of a meltdown, and it just doesn't have a clue. So we'll find out next month when we do the CFS 6 months look ahead for May. But remember, it's all just for fun anyway. And the upshot is weak signals for the summer. Probably a signal within there somewhere that it's going to get more unsettled as we get into the latter part of the summer, so by August. looks quite wet. No idea about temperatures. And then the autumn months do look very strongly signalled to be wet and cool for September, and then warmer, drier for October. Right, that's it for now. We're going to have a look at some analogues tomorrow from my good friend James. James Ackrill has sent over some very, very interesting analogues for the summer. We'll be doing that tomorrow morning at Gazweather's. Tomorrow afternoon we'll start the updates for the May Day bank holiday weekend. So it's all happening this weekend at Gazweather's. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.